Hello and welcome to Board Stupid. My name's Wayne.
And I'm Matt.
And if you've made it this far, this is the final part of our 4-part mini-series, which is the beginning a board game collection.
Yeah, it's what game we think you should have in your collection to start a collection. So we started from the beginner games.
Yeah.
Then we had the intermediate type of games. We had the advanced games, and well, it's time for the big guns to come out.
Yeah, it's big guns time. This is the expert game category. So if you haven't already checked out those prior videos, please do take a look. We're gonna have a little link that runs across the screen there. So click on that and take a look at those. But Matt, what do they need to do before they even get to watch this?
So, we normally say at the end, but apparently you need to say at the start as well. So
subscribe.
That's what we're trying to do. And is, like, share and subscribe.
Okay.
It gives us a lot of help with the channel and to create more content for you. If you like this stuff, if you like us, just hit the like and hit the subs. And if you stay till the end and you hit that subs button, we might have a little surprise for you.
Yeah.
So stay tuned and watch the video, and we'll discuss more at the end of this.
Right, let's dig into it.
So before we start with the actual list, Wayne, tell us, what is an expert game?
Well, if you've already watched the prior 3 videos, you already know that we talk about width and depth. So width in board gaming is more mechanisms blended together, and depth is taking those mechanisms to their almost logical endpoint, getting more cascading effects, having them interact in loads of different ways. And when you've got expert games, man, you're taking those things to the nth degree. Lots of different mechanisms.
This is the widest and
the deepest. The widest and the deepest. You're going to get wet in these waters. You're going to be going head first into it. And Matt, these games will take you a little while longer to learn.
Yes, those are the games with normally like a thicker manual.
Much thicker manual, or probably 2 manuals.
Yeah.
Normally 2 manuals of some sort. Like maybe this will get you going, and then here's the actual rulebook.
Yeah.
So it's something like that. So these are going to take a little bit more practice to play as well. Typically with these types of games, one playthrough isn't going to be enough to really understand the game.
Yeah, sometimes you might find that first playthrough, at the end you will get, okay, these are the rules, but then to actually master the game, you're going to spend a lot of time with these games.
Absolutely.
And just like, so this type of games, there are, again, tons and tons of these heavy expert games. This list reflects not just what we think are the best ones, but as well what you can actually find and buy.
Availability is important for all of the games in this series.
Because there are a lot of games that we love, and there are super heavy that you just can't find at the moment.
Or at least not very easily. So I think availability has always been a key component of this particular mini-series, so you should be able to buy all of these. And one more note before we get diving in, which I hope you'll bear with me, I think it's important to say that complexity doesn't mean good, right?
No. So
we're not equating that. This list isn't the best of the games in the rest of the series.
Yeah.
All of those games are equally good on their own terms within their category. They're just more complex. So if you want more complexity, then you'll get it. But it doesn't mean that these games are better than the games in the intermediate.
And sometimes it goes down as well to how much time you got to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many people you got to play. You will see why. But those are the rules of engagement. So let's dive in with the actual list. Let's go.
Get deep. So for the first game on our expert list is the lightest game in this category. We're going to kind of do that as we go through, try to go from light to heavy. And even still, it's not that light, especially when you're covered in sand, Matt, and you're trying to run away from giant sand.
And we don't like sand, like Anakin Skywalker. So the games we're gonna show you now is a deck building, worker placement in a sci-fi environment, in a sci-fi universe that we really love, and it is Dune Imperium. This game is amazing.
It's so good.
Not only the mechanics of the worker placement, the battles, and the deck building and the open drafting that you got, all the mechanics works perfectly. And what I really love, being a fan of the IP, is the fact that everything is so thematic.
Yeah.
All the mechanics are perfectly thematic, and I think this is a win. That's why it's probably one of the highest game rated on every channel, on every list. But yeah, I absolutely adore this game.
It's so good. I mean, it's so smooth as well. It's an expert game, but it's on the lighter end of this category, but there's still so much to get into strategically, with the different options, how the cards interact with the spaces and where you can and can't go. It's just fabulous. There are tons of cards which will basically dictate all the different powers you can get.
Yeah.
It's really spectacular, man. And like you say, that theme gameplay interaction is brilliant there. They've really woven it into the.
It is. It's and it's perfect. If you watch the latest movie, I think the next one is coming out
very soon. As of the date of this video.
So all the arts and the artworks are based on that movie, so not on the 1984 one or
something else. It's off the movie.
It's off the movie, but done in a very nice way. It's not one of those cheap like tie-in games that they can find. This is absolutely spectacular. The strategy and the tactics that you will need to learn to play the game, to play it well, goes very, very deep. Each faction will have a different, it got some asymmetric powers for each faction as well. So we're adding more and more mechanics to the game. But again, what I will say is that it's probably a game that you will pick up if you played all the games of the same genre. You will pick up the piece very easily.
Yeah, if you already know a bit of worker placement and deck building, this will be much easier to learn. But a fantastic game. What a great way to start this list.
Absolutely. So yes, first one on the list is Dune Imperium. We love this game.
Yeah, we do.
For the next one, we stay in space.
Yeah, we do.
And we do it with some space colonization game.
Yeah, we do.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about Beyond the Sun, which is actually one of my favourite games probably ever. It's absolutely wonderful. If you ever played Sid Meier's Civilization, those sort of series of video games.
True. Where
you've got the tech trees, where you're advancing your Civ through the different techs. It's the board game.
It's got,
it's all about the tech. It's not about the world, it's about the tech tree itself. And it does it really well.
Explain. So again, it's a civilization strategy game with this special tech tree.
Yes,
so if you want to explain what the tech tree,
a tech tree is the thing in this game. And a tech tree is essentially a series of options where you'll get one option and it might be turbo thrusters, and you'll research that and it'll unlock related options, which might be extra boosted turbo thrusters or something related to that, all the way through to the end of the tech tree, which is like the ultimate super powered version of whatever that is. And that is Beyond the Sun. It is the acquisition of different technologies for your civilization, but doing it through worker placement, through engine building, and through area control, because you're going to be colonizing different planets as well. So again, we're blending all of this stuff together. And
this does it in an absolutely beautiful way.
Really smooth.
All the components and how the actual token/dice works, that you will have these special dice for the games, a part of the game where they basically become tokens. You can flip it left or right. Each phase will be a different token. That I think is really, really smart.
It's brilliant, and I think you don't see it enough in games which use tons of different tokens.
Exactly. So
this uses it beautifully. It really cuts down the amount of admin you have to do for a game that could be quite admin intensive. Because in a game like Beyond the Sun, if you could imagine if you had to have different ship tokens and different things for everything else, but no, they've blended it all together into this beautifully smooth experience. If you like sci-fi and you like the idea of progression, because this game is all about that, it's about taking your player board and progressing all the way through to get lots of different techs to get points that way, and seeing the effects of your engine on your point total. It does that really, really well.
So it does ramps up. So at the start, your action will be pretty limited.
Yeah, maybe a couple of things.
The more you go forward, the bigger it becomes. If you remember, on the advanced list, we had Rider of the Northern Sea.
Raiders of the North Sea. Yeah.
This is a step above.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like similar vibe. More complex.
Complex, absolutely.
If you think that you like that game, this is for you.
Absolutely, and if you do like sci-fi and you like civilization games, but specifically the tech trees, go find Beyond the Sun. Okay, Matt, I promise the viewers that not all of our games in space, but
it happens that we like the sci-fi.
We do like sci-fi. For now, they're in space. We will move on, I promise. Bear with us. Stay with the list. But for now, Matt, we're staying in space because we've got work to do. We've got work on Mars. Mars needs to be
terraformers, I guess.
Exactly.
We're talking about Terraforming Mars.
Yes.
This, again, is one of the highest rated game ever.
Everywhere.
There is a reason why. So again, it's a strategy, resource management, and card drafting.
Yeah.
It's got these mechanics to the limit. Like there's a lot of that. Again, where you trying to basically terraform Mars, putting your resources, trying to get the resources back, trying to keep the temperature of the planet.
That's right.
And
you've got like shared objectives, which is quite unusual, isn't it? You're trying to get the water level right and the temperature correct in order to make it habitable.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's absolutely a Euro game, quite a heavy one, as you'd imagine, for being on this list.
Yeah.
But it's also ties in that theme really well. So it's not just a dry Euro with a pasted layer.
No, yeah. Again, and that's what we like about these games, and that's why we think it should be in your collection. It's like it's not a two brown game. Why are you playing? Why are you trying to why are you crafting your decks? Why you place your worker and stuff like that? You kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm doing this because I need to find the water on Mars, so I need to do this because I need to build the dome or stuff like that. So it's absolutely linked with the theme, and it's not every time you find something like that, isn't it?
No.
It's,
and it does it really well, and it's not. And again, this one on the lighter end for this list, but still very. There's a lot to get into and a lot to learn. And there is an absolutely towering deck of cards which comes with this game, which means you're going to get so much variety every single time you play for all of the different technologies that you're going to research. Really great.
And there are tons and tons of expansion that came out through the time, so you can make that deck even bigger and adding complexity to the game. So again, absolutely spot on game that everyone should play at least once. So.
At least once. And if you're watching this video, you should probably buy it and add it to your collection. That's Terraforming Mars.
Okay, promise, we have done with space. For now.
We're done with space for now.
We're going back down to Earth, and especially we going east.
We're going east,
we go to Japan.
Absolutely we are. We're going to Japan. We're going to mythological ancient Japan with Rising Sun. Rising Sun is one of my favourite games of all time. Spoilers for when we do that video. It is an absolutely ridiculous production. It's a Simon game.
So you know the production
is going to be through, up off the roof. And we like Simon games. We've featured a few of them, and that's no surprise. They do make great games with great productions, with great theme. And this is one of those, designed by Eric Lang, another fabulous designer. And Rising Sun combines area control, which I like anyway. And area control is, as you might imagine, you want to be dominating different areas of the map. So it's very in your face, very interactive. With a sort of political element which runs over the top of the game, where you're going to be drafting different tiles to do different actions, like moving your different troops around the map, through getting more troops, through even creating alliances with your partner, and then betraying them to stab them in the back with one of the political tiles.
That is a great mechanics. We always love it.
Which is really, really good. It plays over various seasons of the year, with each season ramping up in intensity with all of the different sort of training or tech cards, more different training cards becoming more and more intense. Recruiting massive monsters to like destroy things.
The monsters are great. Fantastic game. And again, throwback to the advanced video. This game is part of a trilogy, what is considered to be a trilogy.
Yes.
In this case, if you liked Blood Rage, that is on the in our older list, this is your next step.
Absolutely.
And this is, again, it's more complicated than Blood Rage.
It definitely is.
It adds all that political side where you need to make alliances. You're literally talking to your fellow players.
People.
Yes.
Literally bribing people.
So it adds all that mechanic. So it's more complicated. But if you like Blood Rage, I would say that your next step is definitely Rising Sun.
Especially if you want another level of interactivity.
Yep.
For sure. And if you want that, if you want more asymmetry, Rising Sun's for you as well. It's one of those games, Matt, where you'll play your faction and you'll think this power is broken, and then you'll see your opponent and they'll tell you their power, and you'll be like, that's completely broken as well. But it's all broken in a way where it works. It's so smart. It's a brilliant, brilliant game. Yeah, I absolutely love it. Great theme, great design, great art.
Oh yes.
Fantastic.
So definitely check it out, and this was Rising Sun.
It's Rising Sun.
Cool, next one on our list is, can we see this? This is one of our favorite games.
It's another one of my favorite games ever.
This game is spectacular under every point of view, from the art to the actual gameplay to the component. And the game is Root. So Root is an asymmetrical strategy game. It's a war game, basically.
Basically, it's a war game in disguise.
And you got this very nice artwork, very cartoony.
Kind of cutesy.
It looks like a very old Disney movie or something like that. Like you think about like Robin Hood, of that kind of style. And you're playing with cats, with birds, with all these little animals. And what they're trying to do, they're trying to conquer the forest.
Trying to kill each other, burn it to the floor.
And kill all the other animals. That is basically Root.
That's it.
That is basically Root. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like Everdell when things went wrong. It's that, right? It's that is Root. And Root is an amazing game. It is asymmetric to the maximum.
Yes.
So where the complexity and the heaviness in Root comes from is that. It is the fact that every faction plays totally differently, and you're basically playing a new game every time you pick up a different faction.
So there are no, like your turn, if you play one faction or the other, will be completely different. It's not like that you're gonna have that, I don't know, the upkeep phase or the end of the phase where you always do the same things around the table. No, we are talking about that. Wayne in his turn is gonna, I don't know, create more troops and move and attack, while I can only like gather relics and doing tokens. This goes so deep into the strategy. And it's brutal. It's brutal. Every game. I think last time we played, I was literally on the chair screaming at the end to get that one last point to win the game. Absolutely fantastic.
And I would recommend, if you like the sound of that, to check out our video, which could be linked up here somewhere, where we do a little bit of a deeper dive into Root as one of our recommended games in our recommended series as the asymmetric strategy game for you. So go check that out. And then go buy Root.
Absolutely. Such a great game. Now, if you watch the other video of the series, you know how much we love Cthulhu and everything Lovecraftian.
Yes, we do.
And this is very much that. So, Wayne, where are we going?
We're going to the heavier of these types of games, which is Eldritch Horror. Which at this point, I think 2015 or so a little bit older, but widely available because it's been so heavily supported by Fantasy Flight, who have been continuing to support and print this game. So it is wonderful. It's a cooperative game as well, so that has that going for it. So it's a cooperative game for you. So it is Lovecraftian horror on a global scale.
Yes.
We are going to be traveling the world map.
So you travel around.
Yeah, going into different investigations, having different events depending on where you are. You have all of this wonderful flavor text to read out when you have an event. Or if you're in a city, you might have something different than if you're in the wilderness. You're going to be fighting cultists and big, horrible, tentacled creatures, all the while racing against time as the timer ticks down before the world ends and Cthulhu awakens. And if he does, you've got one last chance to try and defeat him.
And mostly you're gonna die.
Yeah, it's incredibly incredible difficult.
That is the game. So you and your fellow player, so you co-op trying to beat the game. The puzzle that the games puts you in front are very, very complicated. Doesn't mean impossible, but it means that before you're winning your first one, it's gonna take a while.
You're gonna lose a few.
You need to understand. You need to know the cards. You need to understand what's going on, how the synergy between all the players works, and it's very punishing. If you do an error, that's it. The game is over. And then it's this kind of expert game. It's really punishing, but at the same time, when you manage to win a game, it's really, really the satisfaction is
super
over
rewarding.
the roof. Yes.
It's incredible in that way. I have lost this game significantly more times than I've won it, but I love it because of that. The game doesn't lie to you about its difficulty. It's like it's gonna beat you up, and it's gonna enjoy it, and actually you're gonna enjoy it as well. It's absolutely brilliant in that way. There are tons of expansions for it. It's one of my favourite cooperative games of all time, which you should probably check out that video if you want to know more of those. But yeah, it's brilliant. It's evil, it's hard, it's thematic.
Yeah.
It's Eldritch Horror. So, we've had horrible creatures from the great beyond. We've had mythological Japan.
Yeah.
We've had space. But we haven't been in a deep, dark dungeon yet, Matt. So if you're going to go into a dungeon, what do you recommend for the people?
Well, there is one game that is top, and we're talking about dungeon crawlers, and we're talking about Gloomhaven.
We're talking about Gloomhaven.
Of course, we're talking about Gloomhaven. It's not like, oh, everybody talks about Gloomhaven. There is a reason. The Gloomhaven is a fantastic game.
It's a great
It's
system.
a fantastic game. It's, again, widely available. Things that other type of this kind of heavy dungeon crawlers sometimes are not. Sometimes this kind of dungeon crawler, the heaviest one are mostly like Kickstarter exclusive, or very hard to find, or they cost like a lot of money. With Gloomhaven, we still cost quite a bit, but you got in that giant box that it comes in, you got so much play, so
You've got
much
a game that
adventure.
you've got a game you can play for the next year, almost
Yeah.
exclusively with your friends if you wanted to. You could turn it into like a lifestyle game, like people play D&D every week.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that kind of game.
We talked about Jaw of the Lion in the previous videos. That was the introduction to Gloomhaven. So all the rules in terms of like how you play, they're very similar. However, it adds more complexity, it adds more cards, it adds more characters
that you can world building thing going on.
Choose. And on top of that, you got a gigantic map where you're gonna explore, move around, and do your quest. And you got all your characters. At a certain point, they're gonna retire. So you got these things that you start playing with one character, and at a certain point that character life or story will end, and you will start with another character while keep following the same main story. So it does create that D&D feelings about the all that RPG and storytelling that I really love in a dungeon crawler. And on top of that, you got the signature card system for the battles. Instead of rolling dice, you got your cards that you're gonna select and build your own deck that you're gonna play with. It's absolutely fantastic. I will play this game like every day, all day. Unfortunately, I can't because we got a job. If you already have played Gloomhaven, or there is actually a video game version, I'm opening a bracket, there is a video game version as well that is really good, that could be an intro for you if you want to play Frosthaven. That is the new interaction of the game, where it adds even more mechanics, it's even bigger, and you should definitely check it out if you like it. But for us, the recommendation will be play Jaw of the Lion first, get Jaw of the Lion, get that out of the way when you can.
If you like it's also quite cheap in comparison.
Yes, so we are talking about this in UK pounds. It's going to be around 150, 140 pounds
So
from
full-on
Gloomhaven,
Gloomhaven, yeah.
while Jaw of the Lion we're talking about 40 pounds.
Yeah.
There is a massive difference in price, but again, Gloomhaven comes with a fantastic production, with the tiles, with the minis, with all the secret boxes that you will have to open while playing. So yes, Gloomhaven.
Full stop.
Full stop. In a galaxy far, far away, we got a 1 versus 1 game that is absolutely. So it's not on. It's on a shelf far, far away.
Yeah.
We got this game that is probably the best 1 versus 1 game that you can actually buy.
What? Yeah,
moment,
I think it's for us definitely.
If you got the time to play it.
If you've got the time, if you've got the space, and if you like Star Wars Rebellion is the one for you. It is a 1 versus 1 game that is, I think, based off the same design as the War of the Rings, 1 versus 1 game that you could also buy, but in a much more digestible theme for me. I think it is absolutely fantastic, and I prefer the mechanisms as well. It is a very heavy 1 versus 1 game. You are going to be playing the roles of either the Empire or the Rebel Alliance, and you're going to be enacting the entirety of the Star Wars movies out of the box. It's absolutely brilliant in that way. You're going to be sending your huge galactic fleet out to blow up planets in search of Luke Skywalker. But then there might be a twist to the story. You might capture Luke and turn him to the dark side, because it's a board game, so those things can happen. It's absolutely brilliant. You've got great dice-based combat. You have a tremendous rule set, which allows for great flexibility and great strategy. It is a tremendously stressful and exciting game of hide and seek, because the rebels will have a secret base, and it's the Empire's job to try and find that base and basically destroy it, as you might imagine. And there's going to be lots of bluffing, double bluffing, when you're the rebels, constantly worried because the Empire outgun you significantly.
Yes.
You have a tiny little fleet of ships, and you see them like moving around, humongous star destroyers and Death Stars just all over the place. You're like, they could come to my home planet at any point. You've got little different strategy cards to move stuff around and misdirect. It's superb. I mean,
it's a great Star Wars game. It drips Star Wars from like every token
single angle
of the game. Heavily asymmetric, so if you play the Empire, you got a lot of guns, but you start getting frustrated when you can't find the rebels. At the same time, if you're the rebel, you gonna literally like scare the entire time, because it could be like
you're trying to complete your secret objectives to try and win the game. It is incredibly stressful. I will say, just really simply, it is Star Wars in a box. I think it's the best Star Wars game that you can buy. So if that is not enough for you, then I don't know what
if you got 5 or 6 hours to play.
It's a big, long, heavy game. Yeah, it's a beast. 6 hours long, I think, is one of my last game.
Yeah.
You could probably get it down to 4 or 5 if you play it regularly.
But make sure you got some times when you take it out of the box.
Yeah, and this isn't the last game where you'll hear us say that.
No. Let's go with the next one.
Let's go on.
So we've been doing space, we've been doing dungeons, we've been doing space again, more space,
and then Japan.
Let's go a little bit somewhere where it's a little bit colder, I guess, now.
Let's go back in time.
Yeah.
Let's go back in time to Endless Winter, Paleoamericans. Endless Winter, Paleoamericans is a tremendous game that was released only a couple of years ago as of the date of this video. And it is a heavy Euro game by Fantasia Games. And this is one of those width type games that we talked about, where it combines a whole bunch of different things. You've got deck building, you've got worker placement, you've got area control, you've got set collection, and there's at least one more that I'm not remembering. But there is so much going on in this game.
There is a lot going on. First times I played, I look at the board and I was like,
tracks. That was the last one. Going up tracks. That was the last thing I can remember.
There's a lot of mechanics. They're all linked together, so it's gonna take a little bit of time to understand how everything moves on the boards So we're not talking about one board, we're talking about boards.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's fantastically themed, and once you click, you will understand how good this game is.
Oh, it's so great. Everything cascades from one mechanism to the next. So the way it's blended together is absolutely superb. You place a worker and then everything sort of cascades from there.
Yeah.
You'll do whatever that effect is, which will trigger something else, which will trigger something else, which will trigger something else. Boom. And then you get this wonderful nighttime phase, which is kind of like a eclipse phase in the game, which is kind of like the Dune Imperium reveal phase, where you're done with your cards, you get some extra effects as well.
Yes.
And then you've got this great sort of push and pull decision making as to whether do I keep the cards and play them on my turn because they'll make the actions extra good, or do I save them
for the end and getting more points or getting something else
sort
at
of
the
effect
end.
that way. The theme and production in this game is incredible, by the way, as well. Fantasia Games, I think this was their first big game, and it was a hit. I mean, they knocked the production out of the park. Their new one coming up, The Unconscious Mind, we got a preview of it Spiel last year.
That is even heavier.
Even heavier.
Probably even better. For me, that will be probably team-wise will be even better.
Absolutely, even incredible. So, but they've got a thing for it.
Yeah, but this one again, it's heavy. If you want a lot of mechanics going on at the same time, if you like keeping an eye on everything.
A few different things,
keeping an eye on what's happening on that board, on that board, on that board, and what that player is doing, and what the other player is doing, because everything is heavily interactive as well.
Yes.
Because you doing a certain action there will stop another mechanics happening there.
The cascading effect of everything is amazing.
It's gonna let the other player not be able to do this or that. So there is a lot of mental process that you have to do while playing the game. But at the same time, it's highly rewarding when you start after you go that step forward and understanding all the mechanics and stuff. It's highly rewarding how you see the things unfolding and how you see your strategy.
Absolutely, it
going
is tremendously
through,
engaging through the whole time.
It is.
You play 3 or 4 hours will just blitz away when you play this game. Absolutely one of my favourite games of the last couple of years. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And if you liked the Dune Imperium choice earlier, this takes the sort of worker placement and deck building in a slightly different direction. So this is where you start getting those divergence when you have expert games. The way that they utilize these mechanisms can be so incredibly different. And it's just a tremendous production, tremendous game, and a tremendous achievement for Fantasia Games. I love it. It's Endless Winter, Paleoamericans. Do you have an entire day to spare? Do you have 4 to 5 friends that you'd like to also spend the day with?
That you like, because there's a lot of time.
Probably like them. Absolutely. And are you a fan of tons of plastic and probable political betrayal? Then this game, Matt, is the game for you. Tell the people.
And we're talking about Twilight Imperium.
We're talking about Twilight Imperium, 4th edition.
In this case, yes, 4th edition. Probably the heaviest game ever.
No, the heaviest game on this list, because I know you fans of the Coin series will be very upset
on this list. Is a game that you need to be mentally prepared to play, physically prepared to play. Our last game lasted 10 hours.
I think so.
Right? Yeah, something like that. And I won. But yes, is strategy, 4Xs, political betrayals, and the more the better. But it's just like it's a lot. It's gonna take you. It took me a while to get all the rules, and every time as well that we play, I need to go back and refresh what the rules are, because there are a lot of things happening, a lot of mechanics that you need to nail down to actually play this game.
Lots of interactions, and I think when you start getting to games with this level of complexity, and a few of the others in this list, you start getting what I call like rules exceptions, where you think you know the rules, but there is always a component which has an exception to the rules. and you're like, oh God, what does that do? And I've got to go read the rulebook, and then it's just that type of game when you start to get to this side of weight.
And my favorite things about Twilight is the asymmetrical factions. So each faction plays in completely different ways. Again, very similar to what Root does with his faction. In this one, you will have to study what your faction does and trying to understand what technology they can explore, what kind of like military power do they have, what's their special power. For example, someone will create more troops, another one will be able to trade with other faction even if they're not close to each other. Other ones are simply a virus that's trying to take over the galaxy.
Why not?
So you will need some research into it, to do some research before you play. You will have to study the rules. You will have to play a few times to actually understand what is going on with this game.
Yeah.
But trust me, once you got it, oh my God, what a game.
It's a great experience, and this is one of those things where
it's an experience.
It's less of a board game and more about the experience with people at the table, because every time you play a game of Twilight Imperium, you'll be talking about it until you play the next game. Like you'll be having chats with your friends all about it. It's a game that does, again, width. So you have those asymmetric factions, you've got trading, you've got the political side, you've got the area control, you've got tech trees that we talked about,
yes,
right? There's a tech tree in this as well. So there's a bunch of different stuff going on here. Tons of different individual rules that govern everything. You've got combat, which is delightfully old school in a dice chucking way.
With a couple of dice.
It's delightfully old school, just like throw some dice chucking combat in there as well. Brilliant game. I've played this quite a surprising amount of times, thanks to Tom from the podcast team.
And he loves
some TI4, and it's tremendous every single time. It is brilliant. It is stressful. It is rewarding, but it is long. So that if you're not in for a long game, this isn't.
That's probably not for you. Yeah, exactly. There are other options for slightly shorter game that we might do some video about in the future. But yes, it's gonna take time. You probably gonna have argument with your girlfriends for a week after the games, because that's what happened to me last time. She was not happy because I betrayed her. Attacked and wiped it out. But yes, apart from that, it's an experience. This is a great game. It's difficult to put on the table because you need at least sort of 5 people to play with to get a good grasp of the game. So probably if you're thinking about it, try and find a board game group that plays TI. There is always a lot of board game groups. If you go on Facebook or Google it somewhere,
Discord,
someone is always looking for TI players, so you can get an idea of the game and then decide if you want to buy it or if you want to push your friends to buy it, because it's one of those games that you buy it,
I'll play it. Exactly, it's one of those.
But absolutely fantastic game, amazing experience, and what else to say? Twilight Imperium.
Yeah, let's do it. So you made it this far. You got through to the end of our video series on how to start a collection. And to thank you for that, we've got a little bit of a giveaway for you.
Yeah, we got a little surprise, as we were saying earlier. We got a giveaway. We've never done a giveaway. This is our first giveaway. And we got Moon.
A brand new copy of Moon, which is one of our favourite games of 2023.
Yep.
Probably one of my favourite drafting games of the last decade, if not my favourite. And brilliant game. And it's also featured in our advanced list.
Yes. This is a fantastic game, and we want to thank you all for the great support you've been giving us so far.
Great reactions to the series, which we're so happy with, by the way.
That is great. We're blown away for the love that you guys showed us, and this is just a little present from us. What do we need to do? What the guys need to do to get this?
To do this, to grab potentially one of these, we're going to basically just do a draw. In order to enter the draw, I'd like you to first be a subscriber.
Yeah.
And then comment below with your favourite game from each of the 4 categories.
Yes.
So what's your favorite beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert game?
Yeah, easy like that. And yeah, this could be
on its way to you.
On its way to you. So
we will probably have to limit it to people in the EU and or the UK. Because I think shipping this to
the US at the moment is a little bit. But you never know. Yeah,
you never know. We'll talk. About
you leave us the comment and then we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about it. Yeah, we'll see.
And yeah, we're gonna do the draw probably in the next few weeks, and we'll let you know when, and maybe we'll just record a little video about that to let you know. But yeah,
enter. So Matt, that was our expert games, and we got to the end of the series, and I just want to make a little disclaimer there. Of course, this is expert games as far as we're concerned. We're well aware that there are coin games and massive war games and other stuff that is beyond the levels of complexity that we're showing here.
There are a lot of games that didn't make this list that we discussed about
as well.
You know, we really trying to find something that is that it's easy to go out and buy,
accessible,
or it's easy to play with your friends. Because there are tons of games in our collection as well that you can't find them anymore, or just like you need to spend like £500 on an eBay. That's not what this series was for.
Absolutely, which I had accessibility in mind really as the first cornerstone for it. So, but having said all that, what do you think? What are your favourite expert level games? And what do you think of ours? Are ours puny and weak in comparison to how heavily expert yours are? I want to know about them. So please let us know in the comments below.
And don't forget to like, to share, and to hit the sub. Hit the sub. Please hit the sub.
Subscribe.
Subs. And yeah, thank you.
Catch out the rest of the content. Go check that out, and we'll catch you again real soon.
Ciao.